You think you know betrayal until your best friend since college secretly steals your business idea, your boyfriend, and your entire client list while you're dealing with your mother's cancer diagnosis, then tries to sue you for copying the business you created. But what she didn't know is that I'm a software developer who had been documenting everything in our business partnership, and I was about to expose her theft and fraud in a way that would destroy both her stolen business and her reputation forever. The best friend who seemed perfect. Hi everyone, I'm Melissa, and I need to tell you about the most devastating betrayal I've ever experienced and how I got the most satisfying revenge against someone who destroyed my trust completely. This story is about my former best friend, Jessica Martinez, who I met during our freshman year at UC Berkeley. For 8 years, Jessica was like a sister to me. We were roommates in college, maid of honor at each other's graduations, and the kind of friends who talked every day and shared everything. After college, Jessica and I both worked in tech. I was a software developer and she was in marketing. We complemented each other perfectly professionally and always talked about starting a business together someday. Jessica was charismatic, ambitious, and incredibly good at networking and sales. I was more technical and detail-oriented, preferring to work behind the scenes creating products and systems. We were perfect partners in every way. When we were 26, we finally decided to turn our dream into reality and start our own digital marketing consultancy. I would handle all the technical aspects, website development, analytics, automation systems, while Jessica would focus on client relationships and business development. For 2 years, our business grew steadily. We had 15 regular clients, were making good money, and were planning to expand into a larger office space. I thought we were building something amazing together. But what I didn't know was that Jessica had been systematically planning to steal our entire business and cut me out completely. She had been building relationships with our clients behind my back, copying all of our proprietary systems and processes, and preparing to launch her own competing company. The worst part? She was also having an affair with my boyfriend of 3 years, Ryan, and they were planning their new life together using the business I had built. But Jessica made a critical mistake. She underestimated my technical skills and my ability to document everything that happened in our business partnership. When she finally made her move to destroy my life, I was ready with evidence that would not only expose her crimes, but destroy everything she had tried to steal from me. The partnership that seemed perfect. Jessica and I founded Digital Dynamics in January 2019 with $10,000 each in startup capital and a detailed partnership agreement that I had insisted we create. The agreement specified that we were equal partners with complementary roles. I would handle all technical development, system architecture, and client implementation. Jessica would handle sales, marketing, client relationships, and business operations. All major decisions would be made jointly. Neither partner could take actions that would compete with or harm the business. All intellectual property created for the business belonged to the partnership. I had insisted on detailed documentation because I'm naturally systematic and wanted to protect both of us legally. Jessica had seemed annoyed by the bureaucracy but had signed everything. Our business model was simple but effective. We provided comprehensive digital marketing solutions for small and medium businesses. I would build custom websites, set up analytic systems, create automated marketing workflows, and develop proprietary tools. Jessica would bring in clients, manage relationships, and handle the business side of operations. Within 6 months, we had our first major client, a local restaurant chain that needed a complete digital overhaul. I spent weeks developing a custom e-commerce platform, marketing automation system, and analytics dashboard. Jessica negotiated the contract and managed the client relationship. The project was a huge success, leading to referrals and additional clients. By the end of our first year, we had 8 regular clients and were generating $180,000 in annual revenue. I was working 60-plus-hour weeks developing systems and managing technical implementations while Jessica focused on growing our client base and handling business operations. Everything seemed perfect. We were best friends building a successful business together, and I trusted Jessica completely with every aspect of our partnership. That trust would turn out to be the biggest mistake of my professional life. The first warning signs. The first thing that should have made me suspicious happened in early 2020 when I noticed Jessica having a lot of private phone calls during work hours. Jessica, I couldn't help but notice you've been taking a lot of calls lately. Are those client calls? Do you need help with anything? Oh, they're just potential client inquiries. I'm trying to qualify leads before bringing them to you so you don't have to waste time on prospects that aren't serious. That explanation seemed reasonable, so I didn't think much of it. But I also started noticing that Jessica was asking a lot of detailed questions about our technical systems and processes. Melissa, can you walk me through exactly how you set up the automation workflows for the Johnson account? I want to make sure I understand all the components so I can explain them properly to other clients. Sure. Here's the documentation. Why the sudden interest in the technical details? I think I've been too hands-off on the technical side. If I understand our systems better, I can do a better job selling our capabilities to prospects. Again, this seemed like reasonable professional development, so I was happy to share detailed documentation about all of our systems, processes, and proprietary tools. I even gave Jessica administrative access to our servers and development environments so she could better understand how everything worked. Looking back, I realized I was essentially training Jessica to steal my entire business and replace me. Around the same time Jessica was asking detailed questions about our business systems, I started noticing changes in my relationship with my boyfriend Ryan. Ryan and I had been dating for 3 years and living together for 1 year. He was a sales manager at a pharmaceutical company, and we had a great relationship. Ryan was supportive of my business, got along well with Jessica, and had even helped us with some marketing advice for Digital Dynamics. But in early 2020, Ryan started becoming distant and secretive. He was working late more often, spending more time on his phone, and seemed distracted when we were together. Ryan, is everything okay? You seem stressed lately. Just dealing with some work pressure. The pharma industry is going through a lot of changes right now, and management is demanding more from the sales team. I accepted Ryan's explanation and tried to be supportive during what I assumed was a difficult period at his job. But I also noticed that Ryan had been asking questions about Digital Dynamics and our client relationships. Melissa, Jessica mentioned that you guys are doing really well with the business. How do you handle client contracts and retention? We have standard service agreements and try to build long-term relationships with our clients. Why do you ask? Just curious about how small businesses manage growth. I might want to start my own consulting business someday. I thought it was great that Ryan was interested in entrepreneurship and was happy to share what Jessica and I had learned about building a business. I had no idea that Ryan was asking these questions because he and Jessica were already planning to start their own competing business using everything they learned from me. The family crisis. In March 2020, my mother was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer and needed immediate treatment including surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. My mom lived 400 miles away, and I needed to spend significant time helping her navigate her treatment and recovery. This meant I had to reduce my involvement in Digital Dynamics temporarily while Jessica handled more of the day-to-day operations. Jessica, I'm going to need to step back from some client work for the next few months while I help my mom with her cancer treatment. Of course, Melissa. Family comes first. Don't worry about the business. I'll handle everything while you focus on your mom. Jessica seemed completely supportive and understanding. She assured me that she could manage our existing clients and that I shouldn't worry about work during such a difficult time. Take all the time you need, Jessica told me. I've got everything covered here. Just focus on taking care of your mom. I was so grateful to have a business partner and best friend who was willing to handle everything while I dealt with a family crisis. But what Jessica was actually doing was using my absence to execute her plan to steal our business and eliminate me as a partner. The systematic theft. While I was spending most of my time with my mother during her cancer treatment, Jessica was systematically stealing everything we had built together. Here's what Jessica did during the 3 months I was mostly absent from day-to-day business operations. Client theft. Jessica contacted each of our 15 clients individually and told them that I was leaving the business due to personal reasons. She offered to continue providing the same services through her new company at discounted rates. She convinced 12 of our 15 clients to sign new contracts with her personally rather than with Digital Dynamics. She told clients that they needed to transition quickly because Digital Dynamics was shutting down. Technical theft. Jessica copied all of our proprietary code, systems documentation, and client data to her personal servers. She used the administrative access I had given her to download everything from our business servers. She replicated all of the custom tools and automation systems I had developed over 2 years. She even copied our branding, website designs, and marketing materials. Financial theft. Jessica set up a new business bank account under the name Dynamic Digital Solutions, nearly identical to our business name. She redirected client payments to her new business account. She stopped paying business expenses for Digital Dynamics, letting our accounts become delinquent. She transferred thousands of dollars from our joint business account to cover her personal expenses. Relationship theft. Jessica had been having an affair with Ryan for months while I was dealing with my mother's cancer. She convinced Ryan that I was unstable and difficult to work with. She promised Ryan that they could build a new life together using the business she was stealing from me. She told Ryan that I would never need to know about their relationship if he helped her with the business transition. By the time I returned to regular business operations in June 2020, Jessica had essentially stolen our entire company and was planning to cut me out completely. When I came back to work after my mother completed her initial cancer treatment, I immediately realized something was wrong. Our business email account was flooded with overdue payment notices and account suspension warnings. Our website was down because hosting bills hadn't been paid. Our office phone had been disconnected. Jessica, what's going on with our accounts? Why haven't the bills been paid? Oh, we had some cash flow issues while you were gone. A few clients were late with payments, so I had to prioritize which bills to pay. What do you mean cash flow issues? We had $15,000 in our business account when I left. That money got used up quickly with office rent, software subscriptions, and other expenses. I tried to manage everything, but it was difficult without your technical input on some of the client projects. Jessica's explanation didn't make sense. Our business had been profitable and stable when I left, and 3 months shouldn't have resulted in such dramatic financial problems. I logged into our business bank account and discovered that it had been systematically drained. The account showed numerous transfers to Dynamic Digital Solutions, a company I had never heard of. Jessica, what is Dynamic Digital Solutions? Why have we been transferring money to this company? Oh, that's a subcontracting arrangement I set up to handle some of the technical work while you were unavailable. I had to outsource some projects to keep our clients happy. But when I researched Dynamic Digital Solutions, I discovered that it was Jessica's personal business that she had registered without telling me. Jessica had been stealing money from our joint business account to fund her competing business. The client confrontation. I immediately started calling our clients to understand what had been happening while I was away. The first call was to Sarah Chin, the owner of the restaurant chain that had been our biggest client. Hi Sarah, this is Melissa from Digital Dynamics. I wanted to check in and see how things have been going with our services. Oh, hi Melissa. Actually, Jessica told us that you were leaving the business due to personal problems. We signed a new contract with our company, Dynamic Digital Solutions, to continue our digital marketing services. I'm sorry, there must be some confusion. I'm not leaving Digital Dynamics. Jessica and I are equal partners in the business. That's not what Jessica told us. She said you were having personal issues and couldn't continue providing technical services, so she was starting her own company to make sure we didn't experience any disruption in service. I felt sick to my stomach. Jessica had lied to our clients and stolen them while I was dealing with my mother's cancer. I called 6 more clients and heard similar stories. Jessica had told each of them that I was leaving the business and convinced them to sign new contracts with her personal company. 12 of our 15 clients had been stolen by my own business partner while I was taking care of my dying mother. The personal betrayal discovery. While I was processing the business betrayal, I discovered that Jessica had also been lying about her relationship with Ryan. I found text messages on Ryan's phone. We had shared access to each other's devices that revealed months of intimate conversations between him and Jessica. The messages showed that Jessica and Ryan had been having an affair since January, 2 months before my mother's cancer diagnosis. But the most devastating part was reading their discussions about me and our relationship. Jessica, Melissa is so controlling about the business. She doesn't appreciate everything I do for our clients. Ryan, you handle so much more than she realizes. You're the real heart of that business. Jessica, once I get the clients transitioned to my new company, I won't have to deal with her micromanaging anymore. Ryan, when are you going to tell her about us? Jessica, after I finish setting up the new business. No point in creating drama until I have everything secured. Ryan, I feel bad about lying to her, especially with her mom being sick. Jessica, Melissa will be fine. She's stronger than she seems, and honestly, she'll probably be happier without the stress of running a business. Jessica and Ryan had been planning their new life together using my stolen business while I was taking care of my mother during cancer treatment. The betrayal was so complete and calculated that I could barely process it emotionally. The legal threat. When I confronted Jessica about stealing our clients and having an affair with Ryan, she didn't deny the facts, but tried to justify her actions. Melissa, you abandoned the business for 3 months. Our clients needed stability and consistent service. I did what I had to do to protect their interests. You stole our clients by lying to them about me leaving the business. I provided continuity of service when you weren't available. That's good business management. And what about Ryan? How long have you been having an affair with my boyfriend? Melissa, Ryan and I developed feelings for each other. We didn't plan for it to happen, but sometimes these things are beyond our control. You've been planning this for months. You stole my business and my boyfriend while I was dealing with my mother's cancer. I didn't steal anything. I built relationships with those clients just as much as you did. And Ryan made his own choice about our relationship. But Jessica's justifications became threats when I told her I was going to expose her theft to our clients and demand that she return everything she had stolen. Melissa, I wouldn't recommend trying to interfere with my new business. You could face serious legal consequences. What are you talking about? I've been documenting your erratic behavior and unprofessional conduct for months. If you try to sabotage my client relationships or make false accusations about me, I'll have no choice but to pursue legal action against you. False accusations? Jessica, you literally stole our entire business. I protected our clients when you abandoned your responsibilities. If you continue harassing me or my clients, I'll file a restraining order and sue you for interference with business relationships. Jessica was not only refusing to return what she had stolen, she was threatening to sue me if I tried to get it back. That's when I realized that Jessica's betrayal was even more calculated and malicious than I had initially understood. She had planned not just to steal my business, but to destroy my reputation and make it impossible for me to rebuild or compete with her. As a software developer, I have skills that Jessica had apparently underestimated. I'm very good at documenting everything and I understand digital forensics. While Jessica thought she had covered her tracks, I had been automatically backing up all of our business communications, file changes, and system access logs. I spent 2 weeks analyzing our business records and building a comprehensive case documenting Jessica's theft and fraud. Evidence of client theft. Email records showing Jessica telling clients I was leaving the business. Contract documents showing clients signing with Dynamic Digital Solutions while still under contract with Digital Dynamics. Financial records showing client payments being redirected to Jessica's personal business. Communications showing Jessica offering our clients discounted rates to switch to her company. Evidence of system theft. Server logs showing Jessica downloading our entire codebase and client databases. File timestamps proving Jessica copied proprietary systems I had developed. Screenshots of Jessica's new website using our branding and my technical content. Source code analysis proving Jessica's new systems were identical to our proprietary tools. Evidence of financial fraud. Bank records showing Jessica transferring money from our joint account to her personal business. Expense records showing Jessica using business funds for personal expenses. Tax documents showing Jessica claiming business deductions for her competing company. Invoice fraud showing Jessica billing clients through her new company for work done under our partnership. Evidence of planned deception. text messages between Jessica and Ryan discussing their affair and business theft plans, calendar entries showing Jessica had been planning her competing business for months, communication records showing Jessica lying to clients about my involvement in the business, legal documents showing Jessica had trademarked a name similar to our business name. I also discovered that Jessica had been violating our partnership agreement in multiple ways that gave me legal grounds to dissolve the partnership and demand return of all stolen assets. The strategic counterattack. Instead of immediately confronting Jessica with this evidence, I decided to use it strategically to destroy her stolen business and recover everything she had taken from me. My plan had multiple phases. Phase 1. Legal foundation. File criminal charges for theft, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty. Pursue civil litigation for damages and return of stolen assets. Register legal protections for our proprietary systems and business methods. Phase 2. Client recovery. Expose Jessica's lies to all stolen clients with documented evidence. Offer clients legal and ethical service continuation through digital dynamics. Demonstrate that Jessica's new systems were actually stolen property. Phase 3. Business destruction. Expose Jessica's fraud to potential investors and business partners. Report Jessica's illegal business practices to relevant regulatory authorities. Make it impossible for Jessica to continue operating her stolen business. Phase 4. Reputation destruction. Document Jessica's crimes publicly to warn other potential victims. Ensure Jessica's fraud becomes part of her permanent professional record. Destroy Jessica's credibility in our industry permanently. The legal warfare. I started by filing criminal charges against Jessica for theft, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty. The evidence was overwhelming, and prosecutors agreed to pursue the case aggressively. Ms. Rodriguez, this is one of the most well-documented cases of business fraud I've seen, the prosecutor told me. Your partner's theft was systematic and deliberate, and the evidence you've provided makes prosecution straightforward. I also filed civil lawsuits against both Jessica and Ryan, against Jessica for business theft and breach of partnership agreement, against Ryan for conspiracy and interference with business relationships. Jessica's lawyer tried to argue that she had been protecting client interests while I was unavailable, but our partnership agreement clearly prohibited competing with the business or taking individual action on behalf of clients. The digital evidence was impossible to dispute. Server logs, file timestamps, and communication records proved that Jessica had systematically stolen our business assets and client relationships. Within 6 months, Jessica was facing criminal charges carrying up to 5 years in prison, civil damages of over $500,000 for stolen business value, legal fees that were bankrupting her personally, restraining orders preventing her from contacting our stolen clients. The client recovery. Once I had legal protections in place, I began systematically contacting each client that Jessica had stolen. I provided each client with documented evidence of Jessica's lies and theft, including copies of Jessica's emails claiming I was leaving the business, evidence that Jessica had stolen our proprietary systems, proof that Dynamic Digital Solutions was using our intellectual property illegally, documentation showing that their contracts with Jessica were based on fraud. The response from clients was immediate and decisive. Within 2 weeks, 10 of the 12 stolen clients had terminated their contracts with Jessica and returned to Digital Dynamics. Melissa, we had no idea that Jessica had lied to us about your situation, Sarah Chen told me. If we had known she was stealing your business, we never would have worked with her. We're horrified that Jessica took advantage of your family crisis to steal your clients, another client said. We want to return to working with a legitimate business immediately. The clients were not only angry about being lied to, but they were also concerned about the legal liability of working with a company that was using stolen intellectual property. Jessica's stolen business collapsed almost overnight as clients fled back to Digital Dynamics. With most of our clients returning and Jessica facing criminal charges, I was able to recover the stolen money and rebuild our business finances. The court ordered Jessica to return all funds she had stolen from our joint business account, plus interest and penalties. I also secured a judgment requiring Jessica to transfer ownership of all our stolen intellectual property back to Digital Dynamics. Jessica was forced to shut down Dynamic Digital Solutions and transfer all client contracts, systems, and assets to me. But the most satisfying financial recovery was the damage award I received for lost business income and emotional distress. The court calculated that Jessica's theft had cost me approximately $400,000 in lost revenue, client relationships, and business development time. Jessica was ordered to pay this amount plus legal fees, effectively bankrupting her and making it impossible for her to start another competing business. The professional destruction. But I wasn't content with just recovering what Jessica had stolen. I wanted to make sure she could never victimize other business partners in the future. I reported Jessica's crimes to professional organizations, business licensing boards, and industry associations. I created a detailed public record of Jessica's fraud that would appear in background checks and professional references for years to come. I also made sure that Jessica's theft became known throughout our industry by sharing the story at professional conferences and in business publications. Jessica Martinez systematically stole our entire business while I was caring for my mother during cancer treatment. I would tell audiences, "This is what business partner fraud looks like, and these are the warning signs to watch for." Jessica's reputation in our industry was permanently destroyed. She became known as the marketing professional who stole her business partner's company during a family crisis. No legitimate business would hire Jessica after her fraud became public knowledge. The personal revenge. The destruction of Jessica's professional life was satisfying, but I also wanted revenge for the personal betrayal of stealing Ryan during my mother's medical crisis. I made sure that Ryan's employer learned about his involvement in the business fraud and his affair with Jessica. Ryan worked for a pharmaceutical company with strict ethical standards, and his participation in Jessica's theft violated his employment agreement regarding conflicts of interest and fraudulent business practices. Ryan was fired from his job and faced his own legal liability for conspiracy in Jessica's theft. I also made sure that both Jessica's and Ryan's families learned the truth about their relationship and the crimes they had committed together. Jessica's parents, who had always treated me like a daughter, were horrified to learn that their daughter had stolen my business while I was caring for my mother. "Melissa, we are so ashamed of Jessica's actions," her mother told me. "We raised her better than this, and we can't understand how she became capable of such cruelty." Ryan's family was equally disgusted by his behavior and cut off financial support that had been helping him pay for his apartment and car. Both Jessica and Ryan became social pariahs among our mutual friends and professional networks. The criminal justice. Jessica's criminal trial took place 8 months after I had discovered her theft. The evidence was so overwhelming that Jessica's lawyer advised her to plead guilty to avoid a harsher sentence after trial. Jessica was convicted of theft, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, and computer crimes related to stealing our digital assets. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised probation. Jessica was also ordered to pay full restitution of $650,000 covering stolen funds, lost business income, and legal costs. The judge was particularly harsh in his sentencing remarks. "Ms. Martinez, you betrayed the trust of your business partner during one of the most difficult periods of her life. You stole her business while she was caring for her mother during cancer treatment. Your actions represent a profound breach of both professional ethics and basic human decency." The business resurrection. With Jessica's stolen business destroyed and our clients returned, I was able to rebuild Digital Dynamics into a more successful company than it had ever been. The publicity from Jessica's fraud case actually attracted new clients who wanted to work with a business owner who had proven her integrity under extreme circumstances. "We heard about what happened with your former partner, and we were impressed by how you handled the situation," new clients would tell me. "We want to work with someone who has your level of professional ethics." Within 1 year of Jessica's conviction, Digital Dynamics had grown to 25 clients and was generating $400,000 in annual revenue, more than double to what Jessica and I had achieved together. I hired 2 employees to help with the expanded client base and moved into a larger office space. The business I had almost lost to Jessica's theft became more successful than ever. The personal recovery. Recovering from the personal betrayal was more difficult than rebuilding the business. Jessica had been my best friend for 8 years, and discovering that she was capable of such calculated cruelty changed my ability to trust people. Ryan's betrayal was equally devastating. The fact that he had been planning a new life with Jessica while comforting me through my mother's cancer treatment showed a level of deception that I hadn't known he possessed. But the experience also taught me valuable lessons about recognizing manipulative behavior and protecting myself from people who might try to take advantage of my trust or kindness. I developed new friendships with people who had proven their loyalty during the crisis, and I eventually started dating someone who shared my values about honesty and integrity. My mother's cancer treatment was successful, and she has been in remission for 3 years now. The experience of almost losing her while simultaneously being betrayed by my closest friend and boyfriend taught me to value genuine relationships above all else. 4 years later, Digital Dynamics is a thriving business with 35 clients and 6 employees. Jessica served 18 months in prison and was released early for good behavior. She now works at a call center making minimum wage and lives in a small apartment with her elderly parents. Her criminal conviction makes it impossible for her to get professional employment in marketing or any field requiring trust and responsibility. She has attempted to contact me several times, always claiming that she's changed and wants to make things right, but I have never responded to her attempts at communication. Ryan moved to a different city after losing his job and has struggled to rebuild his career due to his involvement in the business fraud. I occasionally hear through mutual acquaintances that both Jessica and Ryan blame me for their current situations, claiming that I overreacted to their mistakes and ruined their lives. They apparently believe that committing systematic fraud and theft during my mother's cancer treatment was a minor error that I should have forgiven and forgotten. The lessons learned. The most important lesson from this experience is that even people you trust completely can be capable of profound betrayal if it serves their interests. Jessica had been my best friend for 8 years and had never shown signs of the manipulative and cruel behavior that she demonstrated during the business theft. But when Jessica saw an opportunity to steal my business and boyfriend while I was vulnerable, she took it without hesitation or remorse. I also learned that thorough documentation and legal protections are essential in any business partnership, even with people you trust implicitly. The partnership agreement and automatic backup systems I had insisted on creating were the only things that allowed me to prove Jessica's theft and recover our stolen assets. Final thoughts. People sometimes ask me if I feel bad about destroying Jessica's life so completely in response to her betrayal. The answer is absolutely not. Jessica made calculated decisions to steal my business, my boyfriend, and my client relationships while I was dealing with my mother's life-threatening illness. She showed no remorse for her actions and threatened to sue me when I tried to recover what she had stolen. Jessica's consequences, prison, bankruptcy, destroyed reputation, and permanent employment difficulties are the direct result of her own criminal choices. I simply refused to be a victim of her fraud and used every legal tool available to recover what she had stolen and prevent her from victimizing others. The fact that Jessica's life was destroyed by her own crimes is justice, not revenge. If someone steals your business, betrays your trust, and commits crimes against you, you are not obligated to minimize the consequences of their actions to preserve their future. Sometimes the most satisfying revenge is ensuring that criminals face the full legal and professional consequences of their choices. Jessica thought she was clever enough to steal my entire life while I was vulnerable and distracted. She learned the hard way that stealing from someone with technical skills and attention to detail can result in consequences far beyond what she had imagined. The business she thought she was stealing became more successful than ever, while her own life was permanently destroyed by her criminal choices. Sometimes the best revenge is living well while your enemies destroy themselves through their own greed and stupidity. And sometimes the most satisfying justice is watching someone's elaborate plans backfire so completely that they end up worse off than when they started. Update: I recently heard that Jessica tried to start a new business under a fake name, but potential clients discovered her criminal history during background checks. She apparently blames me for sabotaging her attempts to rebuild her career, completely ignoring the fact that she destroyed her own reputation through fraud and theft. Some people never learn that their problems are caused by their own actions rather than other people's responses to those actions. Have you ever been betrayed by a close friend or business partner? How do you rebuild trust after discovering that someone you cared about was systematically lying to you? I'd love to hear your experiences and thoughts in the comments.